I missed it. Dang it. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Well, a good afternoon to everybody out there. How are you? Welcome to Insights and Straight Talk. I am, as you know, Rod Duff, alongside producer Barbie. And today we're talking about something that most people misunderstand completely, business growth. Because here's the truth. Most businesses don't fail dramatically. They stall. They get stuck in complexity. Oh, I know this one very well. They overthink the offer, in other words. They chase persuasion instead of clarity. And then they wonder why momentum disappears. Today, we're joined by a man who didn't theorize about growth. He did the work. Over 700 land deals across the United States. Not one market, not one lucky swing. You know how we like to talk about those. 700. Abi Asija, entrepreneur, operator, author of The Land Business, has built a 7-figure company by doing something deceptively simple, making clear offers, okay? Moving fast, staying available, and understanding that goodwill multiplied by the number of offers equals money. Now let that sink in for a second. Goodwill times the number of offers equals revenue. How many businesses do you know that are high on goodwill, but low on offers? How many are trying to scale before they've scaled what already works? How many think the answer is more marketing when the real answer is a better offer? Today, we're going to ask a couple of things. Why does speed beat persuasion? I love that. What do most entrepreneurs use? Why do they only use one offer when they should be using multiple, maybe 4 offers? Okay, it's curiosities I'm fascinated by. Why is a no? I love this. Why is a no never actually a no to a relationship? And how does volume remove luck from the equation? Because here's something I've learned about building this show, building partnerships, building lanes across Mangum and beyond. Momentum isn't emotional. And the people who understand the mechanics, well, they win. This conversation is for real estate investors, for entrepreneurs, for operators, and for the great middle class who want to build something durable instead of flashy. And for anyone who's ever thought, I'm working hard, but why does this feel stuck? Stay with us, because if you're willing to listen carefully today, you might realize that growth isn't complicated. It's disciplined. Let's bring him in. Abi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Rod. Thank you for that powerful introduction. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. And I apologize for absolutely butchering your name. We nailed it talking back here.
No worries.
I must have been eating the green peanuts. So so I'm definitely going to get in trouble no matter what. I definitely deserve it. So yeah, I've been really interested in this because, everybody's obviously, land is an investment that holds true over time, and we don't even have to get into the smart idea of it. But I like your concepts, and I like how you're softening the edges. How did you get involved in this? And we were talking about your partner, and you've got similar things going on. What was the journey that got you onto here?
So I came to the US as a student, as an international student for my master's in 2007. So I completed my master's. Afterwards, I got a 9-to-5, just like all the other international students do.
Sure.
And then after a decade or so working, I got burnt out. I wanted to do something of my own. And my wife and I were, interested in real estate. So we looked into, buying houses, flipping houses, looking at apartments and apartment buildings.
When was this? What year? 2000? Are you still in?
This was 2016, 2017.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so we were looking at, different real estate strategies. The thing that we did not like is going in debt. We were like very risk averse. We followed Dave Ramsey. We just didn't want to take the debt. You just like afraid of it. Like we were really proud to have zero debt. So that's the reason why we were hesitant in trying, like taking out loan to buy a house and try to flip it or rent it out. And then we ran into land. We saw a blog post by an investor who talked about how you can buy land in Nevada, in Arizona, in California. Like these small rural parcels, and you can flip them, you can sell them. And the good thing about that, the reason why it attracted so much to me is because you don't have to take debt. I had like $50,000-$60,000 in savings, and I could just use that to buy land. Test it out, see if it works, and if it does, then we can scale from there. So we bought some parcels of land. We sent out some letters, to owners, and we asked them if they want to sell their land. They said yes. So we bought like 3 parcels. We listed them on eBay at the time. eBay was big back then. And within a couple of months, we sold it. We like 2x our money, 3x our money. And I was like, whoa, wow. This works. So what
size were these original parcels? And you probably do all different sizes and across the country, right?
Yeah. So these were like buying for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and selling them for like 8, 10, 12. So like 2 to 3x xing on the revenue side.
And so where did you start out? What size were you like dipping your toe in there? Are these just regular house parcels, or were they some acreage or somewhere in the middle?
Yeah. So anywhere from like 2 to 3 acres to like 5 to 6 acres. So these are like rural. They don't have utilities. So they are mostly recreational. People buy them for recreation purposes. They buy them to store their RVs, maybe have a storage unit or camp on them, or just for like investment purposes or legacy purposes. They never bought land before. They want to leave something for the kids. That kind of investment. This is not.
I love that.
Yeah, this is not buildable parcels. We're not talking about like quarter acre in middle of Manhattan, New York. This is not
right.
Because those are really expensive.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because I'm kind of indirectly, and why I've kind of been excited about this. Not kind of, I have been excited about this because I've recently moved from Chicago to rural America, and I've kind of seen this kind of open up because it's so out there. I'm in rural America. The town probably has 3,000 people in it. 25 miles to the nearest, and then there's open acreage farmers and cattle herders and all of that. So I'm seeing that, and it's a fascinating market. Go on. I don't mean to. I just wanted to sprinkle a little sauce on there.
Yeah. So we were able to flip them for 2-3x profit, and we're like, okay, so we know it works, but how do we do enough of them that we can replace our salaries, right? Because we're living in Manhattan. We had like big expenses. Our rent is like $2,800 per month, right? So then we were like, okay, so we need to find a way to scale this. And then we started actually learning how to run a business, because at that point, we're just like regular 9 to 5ers. I'm in technology. My wife is in like affordable housing, work for the city. And we didn't really know how to run a
Okay.
business. So we started like learning what business is, how to run it, how to do sales, how to do marketing, how to run operations, how have an IT department, and so on and so forth, right? So we started learning, and as we learned, we learned how to scale, do more volume. Then we learned how to hire people, like virtual assistants to help us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we started building momentum. And then after a few years, we were able to replace my wife's salary, so she quit and she focused 100% on the business. And then after like 5-ish years, we were able to replace my salary, and then I also quit. So now we're working both full time, and we have completed, as of right now, we have completed more than 700. I believe we are at 709 sold land so far.
709 land
Parcels, yeah.
parcels sold
Yeah.
so far.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What areas? Like where? Obviously not downtown Manhattan, but rural areas. And,
Right.
and there's that business model. Those models exist. I get it, but man, where are some of the places you go? Do you go to? Have you been in Oklahoma at all?
Not in Oklahoma. So we're in Nevada.
It's a good place.
Yeah. No, it is. So we've bought and sold in Texas, Hudspeth County, Texas, Liberty County, Texas. We are in Arizona, Apache County, Arizona, Cochise County, Arizona. We are in Colorado, Costilla County, Colorado. We are in California, Inyo County, San Bernardino County, Los Angeles County. We're in upstate New York.
huge.
We're in Florida. We're in West Virginia. So we're like all over the US, not every single state, but we have like a form on our website. People, submit like they want to sell their land to us.
Go ahead. Give us your website. Go ahead and by the way, towards the end, like an hour-ish. By the way, we have 130 people on right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, came in pretty quick actually. I'm surprised, but I'm going to ask you to put, in the chat down there that you have on your right. I think it's on your right side, maybe.
Yeah. So this is.
Put your contact information, and towards the end, I'll copy and paste it over. But go ahead and tell them your website and all that. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. This is interesting to me. I love this.
Yeah. So this is my company website. So this is where I'm selling land. This is not the purpose of what I'm promoting, my book, but this
Correct.
is this is how I make money through my website. So land.gocap.com, that's the website where we list all our parcels. So you can see what we have right now. We're pretty much all over. So
okay. So where do you get the book then?
Also, book, you can get it from Amazon. It's called The Land Business. So this I wrote after we completed 700 deals.
Cool.
I wanted to write something. We were like thinking about like leaving a legacy and like teaching our kids and whatnot. So we wanted to document the principles. We didn't necessarily, I didn't necessarily wanted to write a how-to book, because I know it's gonna get outdated within like few years, because softwares will change, technology will change, county rules change. So I wanted to write something timeless, something that can last like generations. So I wrote a principles book. So this book has 30 something principles that we used. And you mentioned one in the intro, which is like the biggest one, which we like kind of like when we learned it kind of like blew our mind, because we never looked at business like that before. And the principle is the amount of money a business makes is equal to the amount of goodwill you have in the marketplace multiplied by the number of offers you make to your customers. Now, it is a mouthful. So I would love to go deep on this to give you an example. if I have your permission.
Yes, absolutely. Please.
Okay, so
We've got some questions coming in, but yes. And also before we end, same thing. Go ahead and put your book on there too, but go on with what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is Rod. I think you're gonna love this. So check this out. So say we are in a small town, just like you are in a rural town, right? So
Bingo.
Rod opens a cafe shop, right? And Abi also lives there, and Abi opens a cafe shop, right? So we have our coffee shops, right? So Rod, so when a customer comes to Rod's coffee shop, right? They're like, oh, well, I would like to buy a small XYZ, like small cappuccino or whatever. And you're like, oh, we have a special going on. Would you like to upgrade to a medium? And then you're like, would you like to get a pastry with it? Or would you like to buy a croissant with it? Or would you like to take some coffee beans home? Like, obviously you're having a conversation, and these are the offers you're making your customer while as you're, just like we're having a conversation, as part of the conversation, you're making these offers, right? So assuming a customer comes into Rod's coffee shop and they ask for coffee, and in that conversation, you make, say, 6 or 7 offers, right? So that's how you're running your cafe shop, right? And I'm in the same town, and Abi's cafe, when someone comes and wants to buy coffee, I was like, all right, here's your coffee. Thanks for coming in, right? So I just made one offer, right? Just the coffee. And you made like 7 offers, right? So you're 7, I'm at 1. So, and assuming we both are servicing 100 customers per day, right? At the end of the year, if we look at the revenue numbers for Rod's coffee shop compared to Abi's coffee shop, you can imagine the massive discrepancy, right? Because you'll be like 5x, 7x ahead of me. So if I made $100,000, you would be at like 700 or 600, right? Depending on how many people are taking those offers, right? So that's the number of offers side of the equation. Then we have the other equation, which is the goodwill, right? And so let's define what is goodwill and how is it different than trust, right? So the example I like to give is that I trust my accountant, but he doesn't have a lot of goodwill with me, because so my accountant has been doing taxes for like 40 years. He's like the absolute goat, right? He's like the best at it, but he never responds. Like it takes me like 3 follow-ups to get a response from him. I
hate that.
Yeah, he's like, I call him, he never picks up. It goes to voicemail. I leave like 3-4 voicemails. Then maybe I'll get a call back. Otherwise, I'll have to leave more voicemails, right? So he doesn't have good customer service. He's not proactive. He's very reactive, right? But he's been doing this for 40 years. Like no one does better than him. Like he's the expert at doing like land specific accounting. So I trust him a lot. I know for 100% sure. I'm 100% sure he's gonna get the taxes right if he gets to it, right? He's going to get it right 100%. So I trust him, but he doesn't have any goodwill, right? Because he just no customer service. So if tomorrow my accountant comes to me,
let's stay right here for just a second. So as you're laying goodwill out, meaning I'm not going to go as your customer as far as I would if you had that goodwill as well. You have the trust, but also the goodwill, because then you're making it easier for me to do business with you. So that's where that goodwill really starts to develop and pay back dividends, right?
Right. So that's what I'm getting to. If tomorrow he makes me an offer and says, "Oh, Abi, would you like me to do your bookkeeping?" I'll be like, "No, I don't want you to do my bookkeeping. I'll never, you never respond," right? So his multiple offers won't work on me, right? I'm only going to go for this very specific accounting work, right? With the taxes work. And I'm never going to refer anyone to him because I'm taking a reputational hit, right? So going back to the formula, you need a massive amount of goodwill in the marketplace multiplied by, you need to make a lot of offers to your customers if you want to make a massive revenue at the end of the year. So that is the core principle that I discuss in my book, and I have like 30 other principles that sit underneath this principle. But that's the core. Yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't say this often, but Friday's show. No, it would have been, Friday's show. We did our 500th show episode or 500th episode. We do 6 days a week episodes. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because it's fascinating to me. Somebody once told me, you're the luckiest person in the world, Rod. You get all this expert advice and information, and details and ways to accomplish things that you have to pay for, right? That I get to have these conversations with you of an hour and a half or whatever. But the reason I'm saying all that is because I've never heard that business. I mean, we haven't even gotten into really scaling the things you already know that work instead of, getting distracted. There's a lot of great questions coming in, but I've never heard this formula put together like this. And cover. Wow, we're coming up on 500 people on 425 people. Wow. But the fascinating thing is what you're saying there and how that formula, and then the numbers then start to complement each other because you have lesser risk at 700 than you do that first 5 or 10, even though the numbers were different, but that formula starts to unfold out.
Right.
Numbers.
Yeah. And if you look at all the like big businesses, they have been doing it for a long time. So for example, you go, like, say you go to rent a car, right? If you go to like a car rental stall, right? What do they do? Right? Oh, would you like to upgrade to a bigger car, right? Would you like to upgrade the insurance? Would you like a ski rack? Would you like a baby seat? Would you like to prepay for gas? What are those? Those are all offers, and they know the math. The more offers they make, the more revenue they'll be generating, right? So that's like a core business secret that pretty much every like Fortune 500 company knows, but it's something that not a lot of small businesses are aware of. And when I learned this principle, I was like, my mind was blown, and I was like, all right, so how do I apply it in my land business? So that's how it all got started, and that was like the genesis or like the inspiration for me writing the book, because I was like, I need to share this. Because this is so powerful. I can't believe that I didn't know it. So how does this work in the land business, right? So that would be like the next obvious thing. So you have to have a massive goodwill. So how do we build goodwill in the marketplace if you are buying and selling land? So for example, we go, just like you go live, we go live pretty much every day. We share what our properties are. We do like a virtual tour. We talk about what's the nearest gas station, what kind of utilities are available, how many, what's the population in the area, right? What's the flood factor? Like, what are the chances of the area being flooded? What's the wetland situation? What are the environmental things you need to be careful of, right? So all the things we disclose upfront, right? As opposed to like a traditional real estate company where you are like pushing, you're like, oh, buyer needs to do their own due diligence, right? That's I'm sure you have heard this, right?
100%. Yes.
And we flipped it. We're like, well, we're just gonna give you everything. We're just gonna disclose everything, and then we, by doing that, we're able to build goodwill, and the opposite effect happens because people start to trust you more. They're like, oh, they have nothing to hide. So why would I buy from like a faceless company, right? Where their messaging is like, oh, do your own due diligence, where this company is just disclosing everything up front, right? So that's how we're building goodwill. We also do like free initial consultation. Like a lot of lawyers do that, right? Oh, initial consultation is free. So we borrowed from that. So we do like free land strategy calls, right? So you can book directly. My wife does these you can book like a 15-minute call and we'll go over, it's not even just buying from us in general. If you're in the land market, we just want to build goodwill, because even if you don't buy right away, because we plan to be in the business forever, and we know like maybe down the line you will refer someone else, right? The referral thing, right? We discussed with the accountant example. We want people to refer to us, right? So even if you don't buy, we want you to send someone else to us. So that's how we're tackling the goodwill aspect. The number of offers. So when
I've got
someone
to
buys,
imagine, sorry to interrupt. I've got to imagine you've got a pretty high referral percentage
Yeah.
number of people, being referred to you, because that platform, it's not the right business model. Your business model is not only much more convenient, but that interaction plus the information. Now you're making it much easier on the buyer to want to have those upgrades, and then on top of that, you're building goodwill, but you're also building that relationship, which is also part of goodwill. So that's
Right.
awesome. That's all.
Right.
Go ahead. I just wanted to jump in there with that. That's
yeah,
very
no,
cool.
that's true. And number of offers, right? So it's the same thing when people come and they buy land from us. We do like upsells. We're like, oh, would you like us to find some like a soil engineer so you can do a perk test? Would you like us to find a surveyor for survey the land on your behalf? Or would you like to like us to fence your land, put a fence around it, or like put the corner things so you know where your boundary ends? Would you like to extend the guarantee that we offer? Would you like to like have some kind of a like a beneficiary? You know how like people put beneficiaries, like if someone passes away, they land moves to them, like some like do you
Gotcha.
want some kind of that arrangement where we can set it up for you? Like, so a lot of like creativity is
Lot
your
of
limit
things.
in terms of like the offers you can make, right? As you can imagine, as if you're running a cafe, you can sell unlimited things. You can be like, oh, would you like me to do like that foam art thing on your coffee, right? Like you could do like so many things. There is no hard limit. As long as you have goodwill, you have, as you said, relationship with the customers. These are repeat customers. They know Rod, right? Like you have that kind of relationship, so you can make more offers, and at the end of the year your revenue numbers will be higher. So that's the concept that I talk about.
So what you're doing here is you're through this method that people are going through in your book, the principles, the what you just described is basically you've got to step back to like say 30,000 foot elevation. You've heard that before, and look at your business and say, okay, how many offers can I create from my business model, this business model, or that one? I mean, that you literally go through a process doing that, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously you're not gonna. So say you come up with 7 offers that you're gonna make as part of your cafe. You're not gonna, if you're starting a cafe, you're not gonna come up with all 7 on day 1, right? You start with.
Nor is it going to stay the same necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll evolve. Right?
Yeah, they do evolve. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good pointer. Yeah. The offers that we started with, most of them are decommissioned, and we talk to the customers. So essentially you want to think about their pain points, right? And then you want to align the offers to their pain points, because if they feel random, or they're like, oh yeah, that's not even my problem, people are just going to say no. So if you track metrics and you see, all right, so how many people are saying yes to this, how many people are saying no to this, right? And if it's like a flop, you're like, all right, clearly this offer is not resonating with my ideal customer. And then we start like, nowadays you have like ChatGPT and all these AI tools to help you think and tinker and come up with more and more creative solutions. So we come up with like more creative offers to tackle those.
Yeah. Today, and with AI, I'm glad you brought that up. It's amazing to me how no better time has it ever been in industrial history, where the little guys, the mom and pops, are the ones that want to utilize tools to be able to scale things that work. and have information to work off of. That's always been with big companies with big budgets and big teams, right? It's an exciting time now, and I'm learning a lot about this from this little thing I started a year and a half ago here. But we do use AI and we use automation, and it allows us to be able to give more offers and think more from teams, because you literally have more people giving you insight, and it's an exciting time to be building or starting a business today, isn't it?
Right. No, for sure. I mean, so you have to be careful though using AI. So a lot of people in our niche, like the land investing niche, have started using AI sales reps. You know how like people call in and then they're like, oh, they talk to an AI person. So you have to be careful whether if it hurts your goodwill, you want to be careful of that, right?
Yeah, I would think that would be one of the last things you'd want if you ever did, because at least personally, I'm like operator. I want to talk to a human, damn it. Yeah, it's and AI isn't perfect. They talk about sometimes it has hallucinations. So there's good tasks. You know, it's like any associate that you have. If that associate is trained and does and capable and can gather information or do different tones of things, whatever, then that's an awesome associate to have. But it's just like anything else, you've got to pay attention to it. And I don't know about that AI sales team here. Hey, I got Mike popped this up here, and I know we might be pivoting a bit here, but how much weight should investors put on this latest jobs report?
I don't know.
I wonder why he brought that up. I thought that was, that's why I'm like, I don't get this question, but I thought there was maybe something I missed in there.
Yeah, I was like this. I don't know.
Okay, you were as concerned about that question as I was then. Yeah, okay.
I wish I knew. I don't know.
So hopefully we don't have a bunch of jokesters on here. Go ahead.
No, but I would explain. I mean, I'm being facetious, but I would explain. So as a land investor, since most of the buyers that we have, they're recreational, they're mostly on like fixed income. So it doesn't impact my business. So yeah.
Well, that was a tricky way to throw that out there. Kind of gave you a softball in that it's totally. So most of your buyers are on fixed incomes. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're making some assumption here. I don't know for sure if everyone is on fixed income, but the people that we talk to, a lot of them, like 80% of our sales are owner financed. So they don't pay cash. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna pay it in the next 3 years, and we're just gonna split payments evenly. And a lot of time they tell, well, I'm on Social Security, or I have like some kind of pension or like military benefits or some kind of a fixed income. So, and that's the reason why they don't want to pay like cash up front. So, and that's another reason why we stay within we never go beyond $30,000 in terms of like our sell price. We'll every now and then we'll have deals where we will sell expensive land. But our target buyer for the recreational land, if you go above 30K, you are getting into like builders and like more expensive land where people actually want to maybe subdivide the land and build like something, right? So they develop it. They want immediate like action on it. And those are the kind of buyers that they will pay full price. Like they will pay cash. They don't care about owner financing because they have their own financing. But the problem is the buyer pool shrinks down a lot. Because, we're talking about like 50K, 60K, like right out of pocket, right? Unless you are like a developer who has construction loan and you have another $400,000 loan, and then you're gonna build a house and then gonna sell it for 800K. If you're not that kind of a buyer, you're not gonna have 50K readily available. So that's the reason why most of our land, lower value land, sells on owner financing, and most of our buyers are recreational buyers.
Are they getting that financing from you through you as well?
Yeah, okay, owner finance.
One of your offers.
Right.
Oh,
so
okay, gotcha.
We're the owners, and we are financing it. So owner financing. So
That-
essentially we're like, okay, so the land is
That's cool.
20. Yeah. So land is $20,000. They're like, oh, I want to buy this land right now. I just don't have 20. Can I pay you in the next 2 years? Just charge me like $800 per month. So we're not going to say no to it, right? Because, clearly the like 80% of our buyers are like that. So that's the reason why.
It's your business model. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely hit up your website there.
Yeah.
As well as the book. That's an interesting process. Just the whole thing that you're doing, and now continually giving back. Now I'm afraid to ask any of these questions. So let's try this one. Ryan here. Do you see inflation surprising to the upside again this quarter?
I don't know.
What? I don't know where these, I said earlier that these guys are usually very smart, but I have a feeling there's some people messing around here.
I think they might be on the wrong live.
I think they checked into something they weren't sure. Sorry guys, I should have made a better monologue and been more like idea about what we're talking about here today. They are asking for business, information, but all right, well, here, let's see if we get strike three. I've seen Danny on here a number of times over the last few shows. What's the biggest macro risk markets are underpricing right now? No.
I think they
my
might be
God.
confused. It's not the stock market. We're talking about the
Yeah.
rural land, vacant land parcels there. But I wanted to complete the principle. We talked about the goodwill and the offers, but we never got into the 4 types of offers. And I think that's relevant to the discussion because
Perfect.
we talked about the cafe
When you
example.
say 4 types, are you talking about 4 categories of offers that each company,
Right. Yes.
Whatever their product is? Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead,
So these are the 4 different types. So we talked about the number of offers, but we never talked about the different types of offers. So there are 4 different types of offers. So one is the attraction offer. The second is the upsell offer. The third is downsell offer. And the fourth is continuity offer. So let's start with what attraction offer is. So attraction offer, so it's, going back to the cafe example. So if you have, your cafe and you put a sign out and say, oh, would you like, or something like, oh, if you come in between 12 and 2 p.m., because, we know that there's not a lot of people coming into the coffee shop between 12 and 2, you can come in between 12 and 2 and everything in the store is 50% off, right? So that would be an attraction offer. And the reason for that is because you are attracting people who otherwise wouldn't want to come in your cafe. So you made this attraction offer, people come in, and then you still have your stack of upsell offers. You're making, would you like croissant with it? Would you like pastries with it? Would you like cookies with it? So on and so forth. So you have that stack of offers. Those are the upsell offers that we already discussed. And the third type is the downsell offer. So if you say you make an offer which is like, oh, would you like to bring home a 5-pound bag of coffee beans, or it just came in from Costa Rica, it's a specialty coffee beans, and they might say, oh yeah, I want to buy it, but it seems too expensive, right? So that's your upsell offer. They say no to it. You can be like, oh, we also have smaller 1-pound bags, right? So you can like downsell them into a lower value offer, because clearly they demonstrated interest in that offer, but they just thought it was too much, right? So you downsell them. And the fourth kind is continuity offer. So continuity offer is like more like membership, like monthly recurring revenue, MRR, right? The big boys talk about it. So those would be like, oh, would you like to join a part of being? Would you like to be part of our coffee club?
Community.
We every month, you just pay $99 per month, and you come in, everything is discounted 15%. You get like rewards, you get like surprise bonuses. We have like pop-up sale. You'll be part of our newsletter. You'll know what's going on. So all those benefits you can sell as part of your continuity offer, right? So those are the 4 kinds of offers. You see all the big companies use them, right? Just like we looked at the car rental, like all the big car rental companies,
Yeah.
they use them, right? So attraction offer, you'll be like, oh, you buy this car, you can rent it for $9 per day. Really, $9? That seems a really good deal. I'm gonna take it. But when you go there and then you have like bunch of like upsell offers and your bill comes out to like $60 per day, and I was like, what happened to my $9 per day car, right? Because
Right.
you're like, yeah, I would take that. Yeah, I would take that. Yeah, I need a GPS. Oh yeah, I don't want to pay for gas. Just prepay it, right? And your bill like goes up. So that's how the big companies are able to make those crazy attraction offers, because they know majority of the people will take the upsell offers, right? And then if they do an upsell, oh, would you like to upgrade to a premium BMW? Why drive Toyota Corolla when you can upgrade to BMW 5 Series for like extra $30 per day, right? And you're like, nah, that seems too much. Oh, how about Chrysler, right? It's extra $20 per day, right? So that's a downsell offer.
Yeah.
So they did attraction, they did upsell, they did downsell, and then they'll, after your car rental is complete, or maybe at the checkout, they'll be like, would you like to become a premium member? Every time you go to an airport, you can get like 20% off. You can skip the counter, you can go straight to the car, like all crazy sort of like membership benefits you'll get, right? You'll redeem rewards, right? So those 4 types, big companies, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, they use all the time. So in the land business, we were like, we only, when we first started, we didn't have 4 different types of offer. We only had one. We're like, this is the land for like $25K, you can take it or leave it, right? We didn't have like a owner finance terms, we didn't have a downsell, we didn't have like a member, like now we have a membership. You can become part of our Freedom Land membership where you get all these benefits, right? So you can imagine if your coffee shop versus my coffee shop, and you're implementing all of these 4 offers, you have membership, you have this, you have that, and my coffee shop, I'm just selling just coffee. You can see now the difference. We were at, your coffee shop was at 700K revenue, mine was at 100, and now you incorporate these 4 different offers, now you are at maybe at 2 million, right? So these are all the concepts, the principles that I go into. So the book starts with like the business principles, then I go into the sales principles, right? We talked about in the intro, speed beats persuasion and whatnot. We can get into those. So I go into the sales principles, and then finally I end with like the hiring principles, like how do you hire people? Because that was like one of our bigger challenges as well. Like, because if you have never hired anyone, it's very hard. Like, you don't know what you're doing, right? You're just guessing. You're just betting. You're like hoping the person you hired will work out, right? You don't know. So those are the principles, timeless principles I wanted to share, and that's the reason why I wrote the book.
All right, I think we have some people that are actually in the right room. I believe that we actually have some people here. Olivia here, just a kind of a fun little one. What was the hardest deal that you did out of the 700 plus that you've done?
So that's a good question. So out of 700, I think we lost money on maybe 4 of them. And the biggest loss was a complete write-off. And the reason for that is, this is a crazy story. So we send out these letters. So we buy land by sending out letters, and also through tax auctions, county tax auctions. So this one came through a letter. So we sent out a letter. The guy was a lawyer. This was in West Virginia. So the guy was a lawyer, and he was like very happy. So he didn't even negotiate on the price. He was like, yeah, just take it. It was like a $20,000 land, and he sold it for like $4,000. He was like, just take it. I don't want it. And we were like a little bit suspect. We're like, he didn't even negotiate. Usually people will be like, negotiate, we'll meet in the middle or something like that. So he's like, $4,000 for 20K land, and he didn't even negotiate. What's wrong with it? We couldn't find anything wrong. We looked at the wetlands. We looked at the floodplain. We looked at the slopes. We looked at the accessibility. Everything checked out. Everything. We double checked. And I was like, I asked my wife, can you check as well? I'm like, am I missing something here? She's like, yeah, let me check. And she's like, yeah, no, everything checks out. So everything looks good. I was like, maybe we got lucky. Maybe it's just a banger deal. What do you know, right? Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get lucky. So,
Mhm.
so we bought it. A month later, we got a letter from the county, and
Mm.
they said, the property that you just bought does not exist. I was like, what? What do you mean it does not
Whoa.
exist? You can see it on the county maps. Yeah, that county map is wrong. It's like, what are you talking about? How can it be wrong? It says it's like a 4-acre parcel. So apparently what happened was, so this land was surveyed. By the way, it was surveyed by a professional surveyor, like in the 70s. And it
Ah.
was basically he confused north with west or whatever, like, and it was like so it basically, the parcel that we actually bought was like the neighbor's parcel, which had a house on it. So technically we are now the owners of a house, someone living there. But since it's been like 35 years, right, since that mistake, we had literally had zero claim on it, right? So we essentially bought
Wow.
nothing. And the lawyer knew about this. He was dealing with the county about this, and he didn't obviously, why would he say anything? And he's like, I'm a lawyer, what are you gonna do, sue me? Yeah, go ahead, right? So he was
Yeah.
super happy. He's getting free $4,500 from us, and we
Yeah.
were super happy. We thought, oh, we're just gonna make like 15K on it. But yeah, it was a complete write-off. The property did not exist. The survey was wrong. The surveyor was in the 1970s. That company didn't even exist. So there was literally nothing we could do to recoup our loss.
And that doesn't happen very often. Obviously, it's very
Yeah.
rare to some
But
degree.
if you do 700, you're gonna run into one of them.
Yeah, well, and the reason I say that is because actually, I live here in Mangum, Oklahoma. That's the Mangum City Library up in the corner there. They're one of our sponsors. But the reason I say that is because it used to be Texas here. This was Mangum, Texas, but the surveyor mistake the Red River for another river. So we actually moved the state border moved a couple of miles. We're just over the border in Texas, but I know that actually is possible to happen. There's probably definitely some crazy ones out there. How did you stay consistent long enough to reach 700 deals? Because there's a lot of work behind that. I
Oh,
love this question.
that's a juicy question.
It is.
I dedicated a whole chapter in my book. It's called, let me just really quick. Oh yeah, so it's chapter number 27. It's called Focus is the Price of Compounding. So think about it.
Build on
Focus
that.
is the price of compounding, right? So
Okay.
so if you think about like S&P 500, right? Well, let's
Sure.
bring back those investors who were in the wrong room.
I deserve that. And they did. I was sitting there telling you how smart they all were, and then they ended up in the wrong room. I don't know what the heck that was good. That was good.
S&P 500, right? If you were to invest, right, 1970s, you put like whatever $10,000, and now if you just don't move it, right, you just let it compound, right, it's
Yep.
going to be like worth millions, right? So it's the same
Yep.
concept in business, right? If you stay focused in like one lane, right, because there's so many distractions. 2026, right, it's the easiest year, like with ChatGPT, AI, and all these resources just like free, like easiest year to become extremely wealthy because there's just unlimited knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But also the easiest year to be massively distracted,
True.
right? Like you have all
100%.
these news articles hitting you, you have all these crypto, AI, you don't like, like politics, this and that, right? So if you can figure out a way to stay focused on one thing, right, and just continuously iterate, because your competition is distracted. So all you have to do is not be distracted and just focus on one thing and keep doing it over and over again. Because when you do volume, right, it kind of like negates luck, because you're doing so much, right? Because your processes are continuously improving, right? Because you do this,
Sure.
like that survey thing
And
happened,
repeating the same thing, right?
right? right? The survey thing happened. I'll tell you one more story, which was this time it was completely our fault. So someone submitted a form on our website. They want to sell land in California. Everything, we did all our checks, everything checked out. We bought the land. Like once again, it was like something around like I think it was like $8,000. Market value was around 17. So we're like, oh, it's a quick double for us. And turns out the seller did not disclose that it was in an HOA, and it was like it was not, HOA did not have a website, so there was no easy way for us to figure out whether the property was in HOA or not. And we usually, these lower value deals, we don't go through title either, because we do our own in-house title, right? So we missed it, and turns out it had like $12,000 in back HOA dues, right? So we just bought $8,000 land that's worth $20,000, and it's like 12,000 plus in back dues in HOA, right? And then you have property taxes on top of it. So it was literally like it was a worthless deal. Like for us to actually pay all the HOA dues back, we'll acquire it, we'll all pay the fees, interest, and whatnot, would be coming in above market, right? So, and the HOA is like, well, you got to pay them, otherwise we're just going to take the property from you, like we're going to foreclose on it. So we're like, well, we don't have an option, we're just going to let it and we just let it foreclose, and we lost $8,000. So yeah, so like stuff like that. But it happened once, right? The reason I brought it up, it happened once, and that was like an $8,000 lesson. That was our tuition, right? $8,000 tuition that we paid to learn. And now we have like 3 people who like triple check, like they'll call the county, they'll talk to the realtors, they'll talk to the nearby property, like whatever they need to do, if they cannot figure out whether the property is in an HOA or not, because we're not going to repeat the same mistake that we
Do you
paid
not do
$8,000.
HOAs? Do you not do HOAs? Do you
No,
not
we do HOAs. We do.
It just depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, well, if it's a good deal, it's a good deal. Whether it's an HOA or not in an HOA, it doesn't matter. We're HOA agnostic. But we will do, once we feel the pain, or and then you're
gonna watch it though.
Right, exactly. We watch it, and we also know that HOA properties take longer to sell. You have to give more of a discount and all those things. So we bake that in into our valuation when we do.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I assume they're less attractive than the non-HOA, because people just don't want to deal with that, and it's more money, obviously.
Yeah,
but it depends on what they get with it. We're still 462 people are still here listening this down. Now Stavros had a question here. And I know we went over this already, but can you just
I can do it quickly,
add some color between the layers? Yeah, and my next question, we're coming up on 53, we're almost 55 minutes. You okay? Because I've still got a lot of questions here.
Yeah. So I'm good till 3:15 my time. Yeah.
Okay, so we got to go through these questions a little quick, because I like to try, except for the ones that are in the wrong room, I like to try and get all their questions in.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun with that all day. So let's burn through a couple of these real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So we
of
make
course.
sure we're that way we kind of know where we are on time.
Yeah.
So can you add a little bit of color into the layers here for Stavros?
Yeah. So 4 types of offers: attraction offer, upsell offer, downsell offer, and continuity offer. So very common example, a car rental company, right? They will do an attraction offer. Oh, get the car for $9 per day. And when you get there, and they make all these upsell offers and downsell offers and then continuity offers, and you end up with paying like $60 per day, right? So that's an example of like 4 different offers, and every big successful company uses them.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. And now that you think about it, the Avises and the all those of the world, you see exactly what happens. And so here, let's go on to Dennis here. How do you build, and I love this question, because you're building that goodwill, but if you're new to a market, that takes some time. And I mean, what do you say to Dennis here?
Well, you don't build it quickly. You build it slowly, and you build it deliberately, right? Because it's not supposed to be a hack, right?
It's the
goodwill is
cost
not
of
a
doing business. I mean,
yeah
that's part of building your business.
yeah
It's the cost of doing that, right? Go ahead.
right.
Sorry.
Like it's like saying, oh, how do I build a good relationship with my wife, and I just like we just got married, right? It's gonna take some
Yeah.
time, right? It's on purpose, right? Because if you think about it, if everyone was able to build goodwill quickly, what competitive advantage do you have above over
Right.
your competitors, right? If you
Yeah.
are in the business for 3 years and your competition starts and he is able to do the 3 years worth of goodwill in like one day, well, why would you want that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think well, that's kind of a reflection of the world we live in today, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants it now, and we're in that
Yeah.
digital age, and you can't. Time is nourishment, right?
Yeah.
So Jason
Like
here, what system? Go ahead. What?
I was gonna say, well, yeah, it takes 9 months to pregnancy. You cannot force that into like 2 months, right?
Yeah, you're not going to have a finished product, that's for darn sure, so to speak. Jason here, what systems help you remove luck from the process? And that volume obviously had something to do that, but also the fact that you're in those 700 deals, you're just building upon the original product, right? Whichever way that product is, or whichever way it goes. You just gave the example of the 4 offers.
Right.
When you're building all that on top of itself, the wins, I assume, the numbers go up.
Right.
So what systems helped you?
So it's not about removing luck. It's about negating luck, right? So there's a difference. There's a
Makes
nuance
sense.
difference,
Yep.
right? Because you
Yep.
will get unlucky, right? But if you're lucky more times than you're unlucky, right? You're kind of like negating it, right? So that I think that's the frame we need to look at. Because if you think about it, right? If you let's say we're talking about our goal is to make $1 million in revenue
Mhm.
in 2026, right? You can do 10 $100,000 deals, right? Or like you could do like a lot hundred like $10,000 deals, right? So if you do a larger volume, even if you lose money on like 5% of them, you're gonna
Lower
be
risk.
right. It's much lower risk as compared to
Yeah.
the goal you have set up. So that's how you want to think about it.
Well, and when that first example you gave, that's 1/10 of your entire revenue. If something goes bad versus the other
Exactly.
way, it's a very
Exactly.
small number. That's how
Right.
you're
You're negating it. You're not
negating.
removing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Oh, shit. This is that one of those guys, Mike. What's the biggest mistake you see? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think he decided to stay. He goes, I'm in the wrong room, but you know what? I'm going to stay.
Now I'm
anyway.
invested.
Now I'm going to ask about being an entrepreneur. I think he just wants
Yeah.
more.
No, that's a good question. That's a good
It is
question.
a very good
I think
question.
Mike turned it around. He's redeemed himself.
That's one of those dingers. See, this one, he hit the dinger on this one.
So I mean, we
I'm-
already touched upon this. The biggest mistake is just so much easier to be distracted these days. Oh my God. So much easier. Like I can't believe how easy it is. So that's the biggest mistake. Like I run like a mentorship, like people, I have like a 12-month thing people can join, right? And I talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, so I'm doing Airbnb. I'm investing in crypto. I have like I'm doing the Burr strategy. I'm doing right. Like I have like one rental, and I want to do like I looked at this land thing. I would like to have my 5th passive income stream. Can you help me with that? I was like, nope.
Yeah, that's
Right?
going to be a tough one.
Because you're essentially saying you have 10 hours per week to dedicate to the land business, right? And then you're going to compete with people putting in 70 hours because that's all they do. And you're so arrogant that you think you're going to beat them in 1/10, 1/7 of the time you're allocating to. You're so smart. You're Elon Musk that you're going to come in, you're going to beat people who are doing this full time, like 12 hours every day, right? So as long as you can stay focused, I don't even think, the land business itself is like any special or anything. I just think
No, absolutely.
as long as you stay focused in any endeavor, you're gonna destroy because your competition is distracted, and we know most people are.
Yeah. And on top of it, while you're doing it, you're learning it. So you're distracted. And then as you have anything, you've got to also be distracted more because you've got to work on, well, hiring people is one of the examples we threw out there.
Yeah.
What about Ryan here? How long did it take before growth became predictable? I like that question.
Well, it took us few years because once again, we were doing this as a side hustle. And we didn't have a lot of time. My wife was working, I was working, so we'll return we'll get leads on our properties, and we'll return phone calls like after we come back from work. And that's really not ideal because you want to like speed to lead is a big thing. People, when they go on land websites, they're not just requesting, I want more information on this land. All right, now I'm going to drink coffee, right? I'm going to take it easy. They're like, request information, request. Like they're going through like 20 different listings. So if you're not responding to them within like 60 seconds, like while they are in front of the computer looking at your land, you get them a call. They get a call. They're like, oh, so what do you like about this? Well, what do you want to discuss, right? What do you want to know, right? You have such higher chances of closing that person because you call them right when they are in the shopping mode, right? So when you start doing like the best practices in sales, that's why like 1/4 of my book, or 1/3 of my book is dedicated towards sales principles, because sales is so important, right? And if once we started implemented those like best practices in sales, like calling back leads right away, having our availability on the calendar, that's a big thing. We didn't touch on it. But availability is essentially a competitive advantage. Like if you are available, like if going back to the coffee example, like if your coffee shop is open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and my coffee shop is open 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., you're gonna do more volume. You're gonna generate more revenue because you can handle more people. More people can buy from you, right? It's the same thing with land. Like how many hours are you open for business to receive phone calls, right? So all those best practices, when you put it into place, that's when the growth becomes predictable, because now you can clearly see it, you can predict, you can forecast stuff, and that's when the magic happens.
We have well over 500 people on. A bunch of people, I don't know why, but a bunch of people just maybe that were in that other class.
It just ended.
He called them. No, he called them and said, "Hey guys, you got to come over here." I went to the wrong. Come over here. We had like, I'm not kidding, 544 people. Okay, really quick. I know we've gone over this, and we've got a number of things, and I know you've got like 10 minutes left. Dirk here. I think this is interesting because he's asking, what is the difference between the lesson number 1 that you learned from deal number 1 to number 700? What was the biggest lesson you've learned from that? And you've rolled out a couple, but what's number 1 in your head that one was a big lesson I learned?
I think, I mean, a lot of people, there's a big misconception in real estate. When people start doing real estate deals, the misconception is that, it's just a real estate deal. I don't want to, like, they don't think in terms of like running a business. They're like, I'm just going to do 5 deals per year. Like a lot of the like gurus in real estate. Just do 10 deals per year. Rest of the time, take it easy. I only work 4 hours per week. That's all you need to do. Right. So that's like the traditional guru model that people hear, and they assume.
Those. I've seen those.
Yeah, and
it's like get rich without doing anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what you just said, you're up against a guy working, or a person working 70 hours a week. Go ahead.
Yeah. So and the reality is, right, those like 4 hours per week is essentially a side hustle, right? So, and that's how we got started. We were thinking, we're just going to keep our 9-to-5s and we're just going to do a few deals and make some money. And pretty quickly we realized if we really want to replace our salaries, and we keep running it like we're running right now, like when we're doing the first few deals, like a side hustle, it's going to take us like forever to replace our salaries. So, as soon as we started learning more about the business, like how to run a real business, as opposed to just thinking it like a side hustle, that's when the majority of the shift happens. So
you get a mindset shift,
right
there, right?
So those were the biggest lessons on the early deals, and nowadays it's more about like incremental lessons. Oh, we already, like, for example, like we have how we set up like Zoom calls and people show up. Like, how do we, like, now we're thinking about, so this person is supposed to meet today at 4 p.m., right? We have a person in our virtual assistant call them at 10 a.m. and ask them, oh, would you be joining at 4 p.m., right? They say, yeah, of course, it's on the calendar. I'll be there at 4 p.m., right? Then we have our automated text alerts. They came out, right? Right? Automated text alerts. They're like, oh yeah, yes. Reply why if you're gonna show up at 7 p.m. Why? Right? Send. And then 4 p.m., right? And then we logged in at 4 p.m. Like my wife was like, all right, so this person already confirmed twice, so I'm ready to rock and roll. All right. And then no show. It's like, what? Bro, you just confirmed twice and you didn't show up. Right? So those are
does increase the odds, though. It does increase the odds.
Yeah. So the show up rate,
it does happen.
Right. So those are the things we're like, how do we make this more efficient? Maybe instead of calling them at 10, maybe we call them an hour before, right? Like those are the things, So that, because now we're doing, we see patterns, right? We are seeing patterns. Oh, why are people not showing up to their appointments, right? So that kind of things you think about, like more incremental improvements as opposed to like the core belief shifts that happen during the earlier stage.
That makes sense. You're just now layering on or building on this infrastructure you built. I want you to read Will's comment here, would you? Out loud.
Love how practical this is. No fluff, just real business strategy. Yeah,
I love that.
That was the goal. Thank you.
All right, now that mindset shift, we just talked about this. Go ahead and read what Lori has to say.
That mindset shift about turning every no into future opportunity. So
we haven't really got into this.
We haven't touched
my
this.
monologue. It was in my monologue. So
we haven't touched this. So essentially, this was like also a major breakthrough for us once I learned this. So before, when someone comes in and they're like, oh, I would like to buy this land, and we're like, okay, well, you can do this, and this, or like, oh, I really wanted to put my RV on it, and the zoning doesn't allow it, so I can't buy it, right? So that was the conclusion of the call, and like, oh, sorry, but thanks for showing interest, right? And then we send them their way, right? So that was our BAU, business as usual model, right? But then I learned this strategy about like a no to your current offer is not a no to the relationship, right? So we're like, wait, we don't have to send them back. We can start a relationship. Well, I'm sorry that this land didn't work out for you, but would you like a free PDF on like how to perform due diligence, or would you like to set up a free land strategy call with us, or would you like give something, build goodwill, build a relationship, so maybe down the line they can refer someone else to us. Maybe they want to come back and buy a different piece of land, right? So a no to the offer does not mean a no to the relationship. So once we started we flipped the switch and we started like thinking in terms of relationships as opposed to just a transaction, our like revenue exploded. So that was like a big thing for us. And that's the reason why I put it as, I dedicated a whole chapter in this book.
Hey, by the way, you didn't put yet in the notes your information on the book. I know you said, I'm saying Amazon. That's not right.
Yeah, you just search Amazon. Yeah, the land business. Yeah.
Just can you put that in there so that they can see that, because that's a neat book. I'd love to look at it myself personally for my own personal reasons. All right, so I love that was Lori's. I like this question, Kevin. I think this is a good question, and if we could pop on a couple of these real quick. If you had to start over today, what would you do first? There's a couple of interesting questions coming up.
I would. Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would put heavy emphasis on building building goodwill right away, because it as we discussed earlier, it takes a long time. It takes years. You can't think of months. You have to think in terms of years.
Right.
So if you're starting out, just start how do you build goodwill? Start a YouTube channel. We do daily live streams. So you can start like a YouTube channel where you can start offering value. You can start giving out free PDFs. You know how someone comes to your website, they try to exit and you get a pop-up, download this checklist for free, that kind of thing. So you start building that goodwill right away, because it compounds, right? And you don't want to be too late to the party, because you're going to miss out on the compounding magic that happens once you have a ton of it.
Okay, so this is kind of the same question, a little bit different, but it sounds like somebody's living. Papa Lynn's here is out there doing something similar. It sounds like, what advice would you give someone stuck at their first 10 deals?
You just have to do more volume, right? I mean, I wish I had a more sophisticated answer. Just do more volume, right?
Don't make it complicated, right? Volume.
You have to do more volume, and you have to look at the constraints of what's preventing you from doing volume. Is it capital? Is it time? Is it resources? And then you narrow down on the constraint. If it's capital, well, how do you raise capital? How do you get lines of credit? Or how do you sell your existing properties faster so you can recoup that capital and reinvest it, right? So do more volume, and volume will force you to find the constraint that's holding you back.
Ooh, I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes it perfect. Especially as you're doing more and more, that volume is important, because then you see the patterns, like you were just alluding to. You kind of see where the constraints are, because it's flushing itself out, so to speak. Matthew here, and I think this has got to be a very important follow-up. I mean, availability, building that. What do you say to Matthew here?
Yeah, follow-up is extremely important. You know what the most important follow-up is? The first one. Get to them right away. That's the biggest one. Because a lot of people don't even respond right away. They'll respond in 24 hours. And by the time we have responded and we stole your sale.
You know what? Somebody is really no, Olivia. We're not going to dig any deeper. Can we get any deeper on the 4 offers right now? That's the 3rd time that's been asked today, isn't it?
We covered. We are out of time. I mean, I'll recap: attraction offer, upsell offer, downsell offer, and continuity offer. We discussed it multiple times by now.
We did. So you got somebody's ear. Read Jeffrey Bowman.
Live stream is incredibly helpful. Thank you. Well, thank you. I would love to come back, by the way. This is such a nice audience. Interactive.
They scared me the first couple of minutes, to be honest with you. But they are an awesome. They usually do behave nicely, but at least they came back and we've got 630 people still at an hour and 13 minutes. We're still at 630 people on the show. So, it was a great show. Is there anything here, let me do this. That's correct?
Yeah. So that's the
website.
That's my website. Yeah. And this is the name of the book, The Land Business.
Yeah. Shoot that baby up. That's a good looking cover. I like that.
Yeah. I try to make it minimalistic so that, I was like, if I wanted to last forever, I don't want to put some designer in it. I was like, people will think it's outdated. But if you just put text on it, how are you gonna think it's not gonna outdate, right? Because it's just like text.
And it's eye catching.
It's clean.
I mean, literally, it's eye catching because it's so clean.
Yeah, and I didn't even put my name on it because I was like, I just want it to be timeless. I want to be selfless.
Nice.
Just pure value, right? That's what I was thinking.
All right, my friend. I am. What do you want to leave? As I'm going to put you back in the green room. Okay. I may not be able to see you because your shirt's. No, is that green or is that black?
No, I'm wearing black.
Oh, okay. The earlier shot looked green. That's why I made that joke. No wonder it didn't work. So I'm going to throw you back in there in a minute. I'm going to close everything down out here. Just a couple of minute closing monologue, and And then I'll come back and see you. I do want to stay in touch because I very much enjoyed this conversation for personal reasons, as well as just the information that yes, the land is exciting, but that mindset, that business mindset, I told you, it's different than other lenses that have come to me on this show, and I love the way it makes perfect sense. But with that setup, what do you want to leave as a closing thought?
No, just check out my book. All the principles that we discussed are in this book. I wrote it from a lens of being timeless. And I think the feedback that I'm getting is people are telling me that they apply not just to the land business, but to life in general, like the business life in general. So I think you'll get a ton of value out of it. And thank you for being part of the show and asking such thoughtful questions.
All right, I was trying to get some things set up there, but you closed it out quick, and I missed on that connection. I'll give everybody a big wave, would you? And I'll see you on the other side. All right, beautiful. Yeah, that was another just great conversation. We talk about having these conversations with experts, and like he said, I'm glad that he closed it down the way he did, Abi, in that, it's a great land business, but the book that he's talking about is about business and the ability to utilize that, to utilize his method, this method that we're talking about now. That's what I love about conversations like this. There's no hype. There's no theory from the sidelines kind of thing going on here. Just operating experience. 700 deals. Think about that. 700 times an offer was made. 700 times risk was evaluated. 700 repetitions of clarity. And maybe the biggest takeaway today isn't about land. It's about simplicity. Like the cover of the book there. I mean, think about all that marketing and just the mindset there. Make clear offers, folks, and then move fast. And like you said, repeatedly, stay available. Scale what already works. And remember, a no isn't rejection. You know what it is? It's information. If you're serious about building something, a business, a portfolio, a side hustle, a second act, right? This episode is one you're going to want to rewatch, study it, take notes, then ask yourself, where am I stalling? Where am I overcomplicating? Yeah, ask producer Barbie about that little one there in my life. Where am I avoiding the volume required to remove luck? I really love that. If this conversation moved you, subscribe to the channel, please. Share this episode. Send it to someone who says they want growth, but they haven't simplified their offer yet. And if you want deeper behind the scenes conversations, the frameworks, the reflection, the personal lessons that don't always make it to the live broadcast, join us over on Substack. That's where we go deeper. This is Insights and Straight Talk, where we don't just talk about business. We talk about capacity, right? Clarity, and building something that lasts. I'm Rod Duff. I'll see you next time. I'll see you on the next one because I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Man, make it happen. Make it happen.